The Portland Bowling Association presents the 10th annual Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters Bowling Championships, the Milwaukie Bowl in the beautiful state of Oregon. Today's bowlers are David Billings, Dennis Bailey, and Johnny West. This tournament is brought to you by Honey Baked Ham, Earl Ford, Hollywood Bowl, Columbia 300, and the Miller Brewing Company. Hello, everyone. This is Jay Weatherald, along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, we've had a great 2 weekends of bowling. High scores. What can you enlighten me on this tournament today?
Well, as you mentioned already, Jay, this is the 10th annual. We've got a left-hander in first place, which kind of brings a little warmth to my heart. We've got, as you mentioned, also great scores, and that's the key. We're going to see some wonderful scores today. You never know, maybe a possibility of a 300 game on television, so stick around and watch some great play.
You know, Earl, I noticed one thing. We have the three bowlers. We have Dennis Bailey, a gentleman who throws the ball straight, David Billings, who turns the ball up a little bit, and Johnny West, left-hander, who definitely gets a little bit on the ball.
Well, Johnny West can get a lot on it. There's no question about that. He can hook it with anybody, and with today's bowling balls, these reactive resin bowling balls, anything can happen. The question isn't how many times can you strike, Jay, it's how many times can you pick up your spares when you don't.
Right. Okay. Earl, we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to the Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. I'm Earl Anthony along with David Billings. David's in the first match today, and David, you've won this tournament before in the past. Do you feel that's an advantage in this first match?
Yeah, I feel it's a slight advantage because I've been here before, and I'm used to the lights, used to the crowd, and hopefully I can execute this time and take advantage of it.
Well, if you get by this first match, the next one's not any easier. You've got John West, a big left-hander, can really turn it up. How'd you feel against John West?
Well, I just got to pretty much block him out of my mind and work on my own game. I got a little fast yesterday. I had a chance to beat him and got a little too quick. So I'm just going to try and worry about myself today.
All right, well, good luck to David today. And with my partner over here, Jay, is Dennis Bailey. Jay?
Thank you, Earl. You know, we have Dennis Bailey. Dennis, a long day yesterday. You started off Friday night losing your match by 1 pin. So that set up Saturday. You had to bowl 24 games, 6 matches. How does your wrist feel?
Sore.
Okay, you throw the ball straighter. You're bowling against David Billings, who has a little more on the ball. What are you going to do to try to compensate for some carrying power today?
I just got to find an area to stay into and try and make good shots. David repeats shots real well, so it's going to be tough.
Well, Dennis, good luck. I hope you bowl well.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the 10th annual Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. Jay Weatherald along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, I think we're going to have a high-scoring match today.
Well, we hope so, Jay. It looks like we've got a lot of talent out there, and that's what it comes down to. The bowling balls of today and the talent of the players, it should be some big numbers.
Dennis Bailey is going to start off on lane 11 to start off the tournament today.
Makes it look easy, Jay.
Yeah,
right
it's
up
a
that
good
second
shot.
arrow. A lot of ball speed. Dennis, the older of the field, really, by far, 41 years old, and he's been around a long time. He's a PBA member and just in the region. Doesn't go on the national tour, but this is his 4th time in the finals. And now up on the right-hand lane, David Billings, much younger, 24-year-old.
David, interestingly enough, is fairly seasoned in the ways of the Masters. He's a longtime finalist, and in 1988, was it, Earl, that he won the tournament?
Well, actually in 87, he was second in 1991, so he's been here many times. He's comfortable on television. This is what it's going to come down to, I think, Jay, who can carry the corner pins, and many times the guy that hooks the ball the most, if he's too well in the pocket, like that particular shot, a little bit behind the head pin, but a little high on the head pin, he'll leave that flat 10, and if David's going to carry well, he's going to have to be a little higher in the pocket or lighter, not that in-between shot. Cross lane, a lot of ball speed at the spare. Hang on.
Oh,
well, that's why they put paint on him, Jay.
A good break, Earl. You'd hate in any kind of a match to start off with that open frame.
Well, we're going to take another look at the release here, David Billings, and here's a real good look at what you would call a power player. This young man can really get a lot of ball speed and a lot of rotation on the ball, and there's a real good look at this, at the rotation of the wrist. He actually comes up on his toe, straightens out his leg at the foul line. That generally is an indication of the player rushing the foul line a little bit when he can stand up that straight. And that's usually a case. It's a little bit of nerves.
Threw a good shot in the first frame. Rang the 10, as you said.
Couple of bad breaks back to back there. The 10 pin on the right hand lane and now the 7 pin. I mean, actually kind of a halfway decent break, Jay, by breaking out the 7 and the 10.
David using a new ball. He bought the Nitro R resin reactive last night just for this tournament, just for today's proceedings. So we'll see how it works so far, the carry.
Kind of surprised me he would switch balls just for today after bowling so well to get to this point.
Yeah.
Nobody knows his game better than he does.
No, that's very true. He averaged around 237 for the week, for the weekend, both weekends in the tournament.
For those of you who are not familiar with the Honey Baked Portland Masters tournament, this championship is we're going to see the top 3 players today, and the format is very simple: 4 games on 1 pair of lanes, 11 and 12 here at Milwaukie Bowl. The winner of that 4 games, the total pins, will go on to meet our tournament leader, Johnny West, for the championship.
I just seen Dennis, age 41. He is a very seasoned player, and he looks good out there today, Earl.
Seasons is a kind word. I like that word, seasoned player. Instead of, they just call me an old man. You're calling him seasoned. I like that. Dennis has a little better carry angle at this point. David is hooking the ball a little more, and Dennis is going right up to second arrow. The break point on the ball is what determines whether you strike or not. And his break point is a little more straight into the pocket, so he's getting a little better pin action. Bad break there. That particular shot, the 6 pin went into the channel. And we're going to see that again. Watch the ball go into the pocket, watch the 6 pin lay in the channel, and watch the head pin go to the wall, come all the way back across, but the neck of the 6 pin stops the head pin from hitting the 10. So bad break there for Dennis Bailey. Good break for David Billings. Still only a 1 pin match. Excuse me, it's a 9 pin match. Can't see.
Dennis always a good spare shooter, always has been. He's a very straight up player, rarely misses spares, rarely lets his opponent back in the game by making mistakes. As you'll see, Dennis's family.
Well, they're not nervous yet.
No.
Not yet. It's
a little
4
early
game
in the match.
Let's see if David Billings can get something started here. Remember, it's 4 games, total pins to decide the match winner.
Earl, we might have listened to you. It looked like that shot was a little straighter up.
That particular shot, the entry angle was perfect, and that's the reason he got the strike. It doesn't matter how much rotation you get on the bowling ball or how hard or how soft you throw it. If it doesn't enter the strike zone at the proper angle, something's going to stand up almost invariably. And that particular shot was just dead perfect. See if you can repeat it on the left-hand lane, lane 11. 32 feet of oil here on the lanes, a little bit of crown in the middle. Scores are very high throughout the tournament.
Great job by David.
Definitely made an adjustment, Jay. Very observant. He's gone a little straighter with the shot, a little more forward roll, and that's the difference in his striking ability right there. Just saw the 10 in the first frame, the 7 pin breaking out the 7-10 in the second frame, and the 2 very solid strikes. Our statistician over here, Bob Wells, is keeping track of everything for us, so we know exactly what's going on.
And I believe we have a 1 pin match at this point.
Let's see, I was way ahead of myself there a couple of minutes.
Good kick off the wall.
Good break there for Dennis Bailey. A little more ball speed there, and you get what they call, what Billy Whaley used to call, hit him thin and watch him spin. Here, get a look at his release. It's foul line, and again, when the players throw hard, they tend to stand up a little bit. See him come up at the foul line, that means he's trying to get a little extra speed on the ball. In that particular shot there, when a player stands up, 2 things happen. Either he is rushing the foul line or he's trying to create ball speed. And that's where he needed a little more ball speed. That one really gripped the lane, cut through, leaving the 4-9. And this, one of the more difficult spares in the pocket shots. When you leave a pocket split, this is one of the toughest ones. The idea here is to go across lane, slide the 4-pin into the 9. Switches bowling ball, goes to a ball, it goes a little straighter. Good try.
Well, bad break in the 5th frame for Dennis, but as you said, this is going to be a game of strikes. We have to pick up spares to keep the match close, but
well, here's a chance for David Billings to take kind of a commanding lead, but again, it's a 4-game total pins match. Jay, you bowled in this. How'd you do?
Actually, it took 9th. Earl, we got beat by 2 players who bowled better in the matches I bowled them against, so they made better shots.
And that's a product. This particular lead here, the 4-9, of course, for Dennis Bailey, and that's this particular shot for David Billings, a solid 9, is just really a product of the reactive resin bowling ball. And there's a look at the ball. Look at no deflection at all. The ball cuts through, goes actually in front of the 9, takes the 5 off the 9. On the strike, the way you want the pins to react is the ball should hit the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 9. And the ball just doesn't deflect at all. Without deflection, you leave the solid 9.
And that gives David a 20-pin lead. Excuse me, I believe it's a 10-pin lead, isn't it, Earl?
So you're getting as bad as I am.
Yeah. I mean,
Neither one of us can see. We can't read. I think it's an 11-pin lead at this point. But that's okay.
We'll make do with what we have at this point.
We'll worry about it along about the 9th frame of the 4th game.
David with a little more time on that shot.
A little more ball speed also,
yeah,
and a little more forward roll, a little more ball speed, and great reaction. This kind of reminds me of two great football teams, 2 heavyweight champions out there, just kind of doing a little bit of shadow boxing early on, get feel of what's going on in the lanes. Both of them just a little bit nervous this early in the match, knowing they have 4 games. If it was a 1-game match, I think they'd both be a little more aggressive. Right now, they're just trying not to make any mistakes.
Right, I think you hit it, Earl. As you know, it's a 4-game match. You can get down by 20 or 30 after the first game or 2, and know there's time to make it up.
A little smile there from Dennis Bailey on the reaction there. That particular shot, he just got enough of the 5-pin to have it go sideways and fall down there. And with today's bowling balls, if you get that kind of a hit, and especially playing out around the 2nd arrow, you feel kind of just a little bit. You almost turn red in the face, blush a little bit, a little embarrassed. A little bit of rotation there. And the ball finished a little higher in the pocket, solid 4-pin.
Dennis, actually, Earl, I believe, is still in the running for Bowler of the Year in the region. He had a very good year. He finished in 8 out of 10 finals. I believe 2 seconds, maybe 3 second places in the region.
Well, he's been very successful over the years. He's currently averaging about 220. His high game is 300. He's had 7 of those, and his high series is 839. He's won 3 OBA titles in the past, so Dennis has been a very successful player here in the Portland-Vancouver area.
Now that you mentioned the OBA, David Billings last year the OBA Bowler of the Year in the Scratch Association for Oregon, and leading it this year along with Doug Wallace.
Well, I can believe that. Doug Wallace, a very talented player. We've seen him before, and of course David Billings, just a young man, 24 years old, and this guy can play, and I've always been impressed with his game. Well, it looks like he's getting a little pumped up now. He's starting to run him out a little bit, a little more relaxed now. We've got by that first half of the first game, and David's getting ready to try to put it. Look at his eyes. You can see his eyes, yes. The concentration. He's really into this now. He's trying to get a little room between him and Dennis Bailey. As with any bowler, when they get lined in on a shot like this, where you know you have to make a good shot, and the percentages are with you to strike, it can be a strike fest in a good match. Love that arm swing. Yes. So fluid. Really gets to the foul line good. Excellent balance. The keys to making good shots are good balance at the foul line and a good free arm swing, and that's what David Billings has, and of course, so does Dennis Bailey.
They went through 32 bowlers, Earl, to get here where they are today. Started off with a field of 160, and they cut to the top 32, and these are the 3 finalists from that 32. A good shot. I thought that was going to be a hair high again, Earl.
Well, he's got the good speed, and that's keeping the ball on line. It's kind of interesting. The oldest man here in our televised finals is Dennis Bailey, and he's the one that had to bowl the most games to get here.
He had a long weekend.
Look out. Got that one inside his target. Oh, ball fell back for him a little bit, and that's a little bit of crown in the middle of the lanes there. That'll help him a little bit, plus the fact that he's using that type of bowling ball, that reactive resin, and good ball speed. That combination makes for a bigger pocket area.
Problem for the weekend, not with these 2 players, but other players, was a lot of oil in the middle. They were not used to going straight at spares across the lane, and you could not hook it. You had to go straight at them. These 2 players shouldn't have a problem, but in the past, with all that oil in the middle, we've seen some missed spares.
Seems like all the players of today, the young players today, can throw the ball extremely hard, and that's an advantage in shooting spares, especially with the type of bowling balls that are available. Well, the difference for David Billings is carry power. He has yet to miss the pocket, and he started out a little slow with the 10-pin, and then, of course, the 7-pin. His problem then was not the right entry angle. He has corrected that by changing the roll and the ball speed, and he is lined up very well right now here on lanes 11 and 12 at Milwaukie Bowl.
Has a chance to fill up this 10th frame and shoot 258. Dennis with the possibility of 227. Be a 31-pin match after the first game.
Things can change very quickly. A mistake here. Little extra time there by David Billings. Solid strike.
Great shot.
Great concentration there. Showing some experience, even though he's only 24 years old. We've mentioned he's won this tournament in the past, 1987 champion. He was finished second in 1991. So he's been here. He knows what it's like to bowl on television. He's showing that experience now by taking his time and making good shots when he has to. And he knew that first shot in the 10th frame was a key shot.
Exactly. That turned the match, gave him the lead, and allowed Dennis not to get shooting 220 of this first game. Dennis still has to go out to do that to keep the match close. Got the ball out.
That one looked like it kind of hung up on his hand a little bit. Didn't get out of it very cleanly. And he got around the side of it a little bit. We're going to show you that shot again here. We'll take a look at what happened here. Watch Dave. At the bottom of the swing, he'd be on the side of the ball more than he normally, right there.
Yes.
The ball never came off his hand cleanly, and that's what made it spin. And when a ball is spinning, it doesn't finish, doesn't grip the lane, and it's skidded out, leaving the washout. The 1, 2, 4, 10. You'll try to slide the 1 into the 10. Take the count, which is a smart thing to do. Not a bad finish.
No, he finishes with 243. As I said before, Dennis has a possibility of a 227. It's only a 16-pin match, but this is an important shot for Dennis. He needs to go up, fill this 10th frame up. I think it's a confidence booster to know that when you have a chance to keep the match close.
Right now, David Billings is probably thinking, boy, I wish this was a one-game match.
Yeah.
But again, it's 4 games, total pins, to decide who will face John West for the championship. First place, $3,000 and an ABC Masters entry in Mobile, Alabama, May the 1st through the 7th. Second place is $1,500 and a Masters entry also at Mobile, Alabama.
What a great shot. He needed that shot. From this point of view, it looked like a great shot, or you had a little better perspective over there.
I don't think he can throw it much better than that. Jay, that was just about as good as he can do it, right up the second arrow. The only mistake he has made as far as target area was the one on lane 11 last time, and he pulled that one, but he still struck. So got a little break there. Here, Dennis Bailey, as you mentioned, by far the straightest player of the 3. Mm-hmm. And the idea here for him is just to keep the ball good firm speed like that. And a solid 10.
Great shot yesterday, Earl, and in bowling next to Dennis all day. he averaged, I would say, 3 10-pins a game, where he just couldn't carry the corners. He still bowled very well. He's a very good spare shooter, but his carry wasn't all that good. He still averaged 230.
That's not too bad.
No, you can't say his carry was.
You can live with that.
We have Dennis Bailey with 216 and David Billings with the 243, ending up this first match. If you hold on, we'll be right back after these messages for our second match. Welcome back to the 1994 Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. Jay Weatherald, Earl Anthony, bringing you the action. And Earl, here we have it, the fourth game of this first match. 43 pins lead for David Billings. What can we expect to see?
Well, you can expect to see David Billings try to get out of the gate, I think, here very strongly. He actually has an advantage of starting on the tougher of the two lanes, I feel, lane 11. Anytime a lane hooks more, it's harder to keep the ball in play.
Great shot. Great shot. It's kind of almost a bragging rights game once we see it. If David Billings goes on to beat Dennis and to beat John, he will be the all-time leading money winner for the Portland Masters. Vice versa, if John West can hold on and win it, he will retain that honor. So,
well, and Dennis Bailey can be the spoiler. This isn't over. He's 43 pins
exactly
down.
Right.
And he's given the ball a little room, got it back, tripped the 4, and that's kind of break he needs to get this match started. Now, high games of the tournament this year. Mike Polinsky bowled a 300 game. J.P. Mueller had 299. Here's another look at that shot. Watch the head pin go to the side. Actually, it was a 2-pin, come off the wall, kick out the 4. And, of course, John West, our tournament leader, had a 299. But this man up there right now, Dennis Bailey, bowled a 299 in this tournament. And there's no reason to believe he couldn't do it again right now and put a lot of pressure.
Oh.
Well, maybe not. He's going to bowl like that. Yeah. That one got away.
Earl, I'll take this opportunity to run down a little list of the other bowlers who cashed in this weekend's event. Mike Bouvier was fourth for $600. $400 apiece was Roger LeClaire and Roger Linhart. $350, two left-handers, Jim Birch, Jim Stein. $300 by self Jay Weatherald and Bill Michaels, Tyler Croy and Roger Hastings, all getting $300. From 13th through 16th place, we have Alan Stanford, Freddie McClurkin, J.P. Mueller, and Mike Polinsky. We'll run on the rest a little bit later, but very good bowling for all those gentlemen. You can see that scout coming across all the way, Earl.
Yeah, that again is the head pin. Everybody kind of thinks that's the 5 pin, but we're going to get a look at that again. Now watch what happens to the head pin. The pin in the middle of the screen goes to the sideboard, comes all the way back across the lane. You can see the spin that's put on it when it goes in. It goes into the channel, it picks up some side spin, runs all the way back across, kicks out the 10. You know, it's kind of interesting. Dennis Bailey bowled those 24 games yesterday, 6 matches, won them all. His last game, the 24th game, was a 299. So still a possibility of 280, which means that in order to shut this match out, David Billings would have to bowl 237 or more.
Our hope that Dennis misses 1 or 2 shots in the ensuing 8 frames. But
he might bowl it off.
Yeah, he's not going to give anything here. We'll keep on going down the list, Earl. In 17th through the 24th place of this tournament for $200 each was Kurt Millspaw, Dan McElliott, Barry Lozier, Brian Schmidt, Tim Myers, Steve Coates, John Lindsay, and Greg Silva. Kurt Millspaw in 17th place was our leading qualifier this weekend.
Well, it just hasn't been Dennis Bailey's day. He's made some good shots. It got some bad result. That right there was one of his better shots. Got the ball well out in front of him, out on the lane. Good release, good rotation, the solid 10-pin. When things aren't going your way, they're not going your way. David Billings has bowled extremely well, made very few mistakes, and he's had a couple of bad breaks. He's also had some good carry, kicking out the 10-pin with that, as you call the scout, coming across, Jay.
As we see Earl, Johnny West there waiting in the wings. He's looked down there. He looked great in practice, and I have everything to assume that he's going to come out here and make it very tough, whatever bowler he bowls and faces today.
You can see out of the corner of your eye, if you're watching this screen, when we showed the tournament leader, Johnny West, sitting over there, a left-hander, is obvious, as he saw him put something on his thumb. What he's doing, he's putting a thumb insert that you'd put in a bowling ball. He's putting that on his thumb, and the reason he's doing that is so his thumb won't swell. And that's kind of interesting, and that's a good tip for you bowlers at home that might be watching this. You're watching some of the best bowlers in the Northwest perform, and here's Johnny West sitting over there very relaxed, but what he's doing is making sure that he doesn't have any hand problems by putting a thumb grip to cover his thumb to keep it from swelling.
There we see some brotherly advice from Brother Paul West.
And he went down there and said, "What'd you put that on your thumb for?"
Dave with a great shot. You know, he sees the blood early. He knows that he has this match well in hand. He's going to go out there and make aggressive shots, and he's done it. You know, the first 4 frames, every one a great shot.
Well, he's pretty relaxed at this point right now. He's kind of running away with this, and he's going to shoot a tremendous score. You look at this, he had 686 for his first 3 games, and Dennis Bailey, no slouch, 643, but 643 was 43 pins short after 3 games, and the way David Billings is going, it's just he's not letting up, and I wouldn't want to. Right now, if I was Johnny West sitting over there, I don't think I want to watch this.
No.
This is this kid has a lot of talent, and he's displaying that right now. Another good shot.
Great shot. He's very much lined in. He'll be tough. From 25th through 32nd place in this tournament. Well, let's see David's reaction to that shot, Earl.
You can see he's starting to run him out. He's starting to feel like this match is mine, and he knows that if he wins this match, he's definitely going to Mobile for the Masters.
Yes.
The American Bowling Congress Championships, the Masters.
For $125, these gentlemen took home that check this weekend. In 25th place, Jeff Abney. 26th, Al Kimley. Richard Laurie, Matt Maloney, Grace Cosness, Dave Fritz, Russ Nicholas, and Ralph Kraut to round out the 32-player field.
A lot of familiar names there.
Yes.
A lot of fine players, guys that have been around a long time in the Portland area, Vancouver area. Remember, you must bowl league and the Portland Bowling Association to be eligible for this event, but and get your entry in early. That's the important thing. It looks like Dennis wants to finish strong, but today it's been David Billings' day. But you know what's kind of interesting? David has that first 5 strikes, Jay, to start this 4th game of this first match, and the high game on television throughout this Portland Bowling Association Masters was in 1985 by Jeff Phipps, who bowled a 288 game. Maybe David Billings not only is going to win this match, but maybe change the record there for us.
Right, and I believe in 1985 Jeff went on to win that when he shoot 288. That's going to help your cause. He went on to win that tournament. The alternate for this weekend's festivities were Che Elberfeld for $100, and the high qualifier out of the money, Mike Sperano, $75.
And the man that's supplying us with all these wonderful tips is our statistician today, the one and only Mr. Wells. Well, this is sure an easy game, isn't it?
He's making it look every bit of that.
Being able to repeat the shot is the most important thing, obviously, in the sport of bowling. And David Billings right now has been able to repeat time after time. Same rotation, same loft, same ball speed, and the reason he can do that is because of that free swing from the shoulder. Great arm swing. Watch how smooth he is. Nice and smooth. Good footwork, good balance at the foul line. Just like that.
And a great shot. All 10 pins.
We should have a wonderful championship match.
Yes, I believe so. It's going to be interesting to see. We'll have 2 power players.
2 power players. One of them a lefty, one of them a righty.
Yes. Which, Earl, I hate to say, but we need a left-handed banner up here at Milwaukie Bowl.
Well,
I hate to say it.
That's prejudice if I've ever heard it. I mean, I can't believe you could say so.
No.
Just because you're left-handed.
No, both David and John are good friends and good friends of mine, and we'll never root against either one of them.
Well, knowing Champ Husted, if John West were to win this, he might burn his banner.
Yeah. Dennis now throwing a great shot there on lane 11 in the 8th frame. David Billings has a chance to come up here and throw 2 strikes.
I think Dennis Bailey right now at this point in the match is just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
David Billings can get up there and maybe bowl 300. Got to hurry. Oh, my, did that finish hard or what? Whew. Now, here's a look. Now, this is something unique. And here's another look at that. Watch the ball. It goes, he gets middle of the head pin and only gets 5 pins out of a full rack. He leaves the 4-7, of course, the 3-6-10 on the right, 4-7 on the left. This is very makeable. And a spare shooter as good as David Billings could make this. He'll try to slide the 3 across into the 4-7. The ball will take out to 6-10. A little too much of the 3-pin, and that's a urethane split. You didn't see those back before you were born, Jay, when I was playing this game, when we were using hard rubber bowling balls and hard plastic or polyester bowling balls. You never saw anybody could hook the ball hard enough to leave that kind of a spare.
Well, did they throw the ball like that, or was it a more accuracy game at that point?
Well, they threw the ball like this. A lot of good power players, actually people like Carmen Salvino, Dick Weber, those guys could hook it on anything, but they never, ever could finish it as hard as they. And a lot of that is not only the talent of these players, but it's the idea that they can get the urethane ball, the reactive urethane bowling balls, hit so hard, and once they grip the dry area of the lane, it's the reaction, if you blink, you missed it. It's over with. Well, we've got a winner. David Billings, of course, has bowled so well today. He's going to shoot the big numbers, and it just wasn't Dennis Bailey's day, but David Billings to go on to meet our tournament leader, John West, the only undefeated player in the field this year. Tournament leader, and he did beat David Billings 922 to 909 in the qualifying rounds.
Well, Dennis, to get to this point, had to beat some very, very fine players. He lost to Jim Stein, as we mentioned, by 1 pin. Then he went on to defeat Jeff Abney, Kurt Millsbaugh, Mike Polinsky, Tyler Croy, Jim Stein again. Jim Stein, actually, from Jim Stein defeated him, he righted that wrong, defeated Jim Stein, then Roger LeClaire and Mike Boviak. So he had a long road to the finals, but very well to meet some very fine players.
And you can see the good sportsmanship. You've got to look at the replay of that last shot. You see the pin action. Whenever you can get the 5 pin and the head pin to go in sideways, something good can happen. And you can see the head pin just enough to kick out the 7 pin. But all throughout this event, the 160 of the finest players in the Portland, Vancouver area, and of course, the good sportsmanship abounds. Everybody is pulling for everybody else to a point. First, I want to win. If I can't, well, nice bowling, that kind of thing. But that good sportsmanship is obvious throughout the event. And again, if you'd like to play in this game, play against the best bowlers in the area, contact Bob Wells, and we've shown you that number, and we'll show it again. He's the man to talk to, and you got to get your entries in early. This is one of the finest tournaments in the Northwest.
Dennis Bailey finishing out with a 222, an excellent game, but unfortunately, Earl, not enough.
Well, unfortunate for him, unfortunate for this guy right here who's going to go on to play for the championship. David Billings, a lot of talent. And as you mentioned, Jay, I think it's kind of interesting. We're going to see a guy hooking it on the right side and a guy can really hook it on the left side. You know, both outstanding players, good spare shooters.
It should be exciting for the crowd because you have 2 players who can get the pins dancing, as you said.
Well, it's going to be exciting for me. I'm part of that crowd. I'm looking forward to this.
David Billings is going to fill this up, shoot an even 250 game. Is that correct, Earl?
That's pretty unusual because of the pin count he had in the 8th frame there. He was almost perfect this game. One shot that got away from him, and that was that 5 count, and then the open frame, and finishes with 250.
Yes, 250 even to 227. That makes David Billings our winner of the match number 1 over Dennis Bailey. Don't go away, folks. We have a very, very exciting match coming up here for the title match. David Billings, John West will be right back after these messages. Weatherald and Earl Anthony back with the 1994 Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters, the 10th annual, I might add, Earl. There we see John West and David Billings getting ready for what could be the final 4-game match of this tournament.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, I don't know what the scoring record is for a championship match for 4 games, but this could be it, actually for 8 games. When you add these 2 together, these guys, look at the stats on this young man.
Age 27, he's bowled out of Milwaukee for many years. And he looks good. He was doing this all weekend, Earl.
He likes the lane condition. You can see that. He's got the speed to hold the line. He generates a lot of rotation on the bowling ball, and he's confident. He's got good balance. This could be one of the highest scoring matches in this particular tournament's history, and I would expect that, Jay.
Yes,
I really would.
I would too, Earl. Both these players, Johnny feels he might have something to prove. He's been second twice, lost twice. So big match for him.
David Billings, the winner of our semifinal match, 936 to 870 over Dennis Bailey. That may not be enough.
No.
936 may not be enough, and I'm sure that David Billings is aware of that, and he's going to get all he can get. And this particular match, now remember last match we talked about how the players were kind of feeling each other out, like two heavyweight fighters sparring around for the first couple of rounds and then getting it on. Well, I don't think that's going to happen in this match. I think both players are going to come out, they're going to be aggressive, and they're not going to give either one is going to give anything away in his first game or two. They're going to make sure that they're right there in the match, or they're going to try to be very aggressive to the point where they can take command early.
Both of these players very similar as far as their scoring this weekend. John West averaged 236, David Billings 237. So we're going to see some strikes out of these two.
Well, I hope so, and I think you're right, Jay. It looks like both players are the only thing that I feel, and I've bowled a lot of games on television over the years, and it's always seemed to me that the player that won the match coming into the championship round had a little bit of an advantage for the first few frames, in that he was more relaxed, more acclimated to the lanes, and to me, that was always a 20 or 30 pin advantage going into a one-game match. But of course, this is a four-game match, and we're going to get another look at the release here of Johnny West. And look at the high backswing, the straight arm, the good balance at the foul line, and tremendous lift through the ball. Look at the bent knee, the perfect balance.
And he stays down at the line very nicely.
Very
shot.
Very confident young man. Got to hang out.
We mentioned the crowd favorite. He was bowled quite a few years here at Milwaukee. His mother works here, his brother works here. It's a family affair at Milwaukee Bowl.
Now this again, remember this left lane, we watched this throughout the first match in the semifinal round here, where David Billings and of course Dennis Bailey both had a little problem with the left-hand lane, hooking a little more. It looks like it might happen for the left-handers too. And there we get John West making the first mistake of the match, missing the six pin.
We mentioned a lot of oil in the middle, and this can happen. We've seen it happen, is not going straight enough at the spare. It's expecting the ball to hook back, and it's not going to do it in today's condition.
Well, I think a little bit of it's nerves. It's the first game of a four-game match, and a little nervous getting started here. David Billings, an opportunity to take command early here. Jump out in front.
And he does it. David Billings, Earl, in his route to the finals, defeated Mike Polinsky, Jim Stein, Roger Linhart, lost to Johnny West, then defeated Mike Bouvier. In all of those matches, his low set for the four-game block was 909. A very consistent player, had 980s, 960s, so high scores, but very consistent.
Is he locked in right now? That left-hand lane is looking, it's like an instant replay. It's not often you see a guy that can rotate the ball with that much speed and that, all that power and still be that consistent with the entry angle. And every ball looks like a replay for David Billings. He's really lined up.
Great job for Johnny.
Gotta like his release.
Yes.
Gets the ball well out in front of him, sets it down a little bit early, but he definitely gets it out in front. And here's a look at the family and friends of Johnny West. And you can see that everybody's a little bit nervous.
Yes, I would say so. We see Donnie Pyle even down there on his knees. He's hoping that Johnny makes a good shot. Great shot for Johnny.
Well, so far the only mistake in the match has been a little bit high in the pocket for Johnny West, leaving the six pin, and then unusual for any of the players of this caliber, he actually missed the one pin spare, and that's been the only open door we've seen so far. David Billings starting with 4 in a row. This is getting to be a habit for him.
Yes. He likes to jump on the opponent. At this point, he's done that. He's not leaving any breathing room.
Been the only thing that's been any kind of a weakness in his game at all, and that's the fact that he's gone sometimes a little bit hard and straight on lane 12 and left that kind of a flat 10. But it hasn't been any problem for David. He's covered his spares extremely well, and I'm sure he will this one. He'll go cross lane. A lot of ball speed. Important thing in this, if you're watching at home, is to make sure you hit the pin. You don't have to worry about how much ball you throw. Just throw it straight and hard right at it. Just like that.
Which he does very well.
David can get it down there quick.
Yes.
There's no question about that.
He's rather proficient on the 7-10 split, which is obviously a tough square to pick up, but he prides himself on being able to kick the 10 or the corners out of the deck.
If you've ever watched Pro Bowlers Tour, I'm sure you might have caught the show where Mark Roth picked the 7-10 up on national television. What a show-off.
Yeah.
He gave it a little more room there. He still got it back to the pocket.
And as you mentioned, his arm swing creates that great ball speed.
Well, what the key here on this particular lane condition, it seems to me from watching, is that you have to get the ball through the heads at the same angle every time. As long as you do that, you'll catch a hook point down the lane, the ball will get back to the pocket. And that seems to be the key for David Billings. He can do that consistently well. Little different angle there. And again, the 6-pin. That one was a little deeper into the lane, and what I mean by that is he laid it down inside of his target and went more toward the channel with it when it left his hand, which made it hook earlier. You got out into the dry area too soon, the ball hooked earlier, went a little high in the head pin. See if he makes an adjustment here right at it. Don't want to get careless with these.
Definitely right at that square.
Learned his lesson on the last one.
Yes.
Had an opportunity to really get back into the match there and kind of let it get away from him. Usually when a player is nervous, they'll pull the shot inside their target. And what causes that is that the muscles tighten up, the player stands up at the foul line, and the legs straighten out a little bit instead of bending the knee. That makes you stand up taller, makes the ball be cut short in the downswing, pulls the ball high in the pocket. When that happens, you'll usually, on this type of lane condition, the way the oils are dressed, and you get a look at Mom over there, everybody's a little nervous. Nobody looks too happy.
No, at this point, it's too early to have that.
It's too early to smile, right? But when that happens, as I was explaining, when that happens, the ball hits the oil and it tends to skid, and you'll, if anything, leave the bucket. Whereas here, John defied that. John West gave it more room, and he's left the 6-pin both times. So he's actually trusted the ball. So he's not nervous. He's making good shots. That's high. Out of his hand, that ball was high and stayed right there.
Interesting with the conditions we're bowling on today is you get the ball out early, it hooks. You pull the ball, it slides.
Exactly.
Almost the difference in what they're used to on most lane conditions, isn't it, Earl? On the way it used to be. I shouldn't say the way it used to be, but...
Oh, you're trying to date me here, are you, Jay? What are you trying to do, Jay? Just come right out and say I'm an old man. That's all right. I don't mind.
What I meant in the conditions, I should say, that I was used to when I first started bowling is you throw the ball right or left, it goes right or left. It doesn't have a chance to make it back to the pocket. Nowadays, it seems to be just the opposite.
Well, a lot of that is not only the way the lanes are conditioned, but it's the equipment they're playing with. The bowling balls, we've talked about that, Jay, you and I, back and forth here, the reactive resin bowling balls, they tend to overreact to the lane surface, too.
Okay.
Another great shot.
You hit it on lane 11. He's been dead flush every shot.
Now, this particular type of bowling ball, what it does, when it hits some oil, it skids more than any other bowling ball that's ever been made. When it hits dry, it grips more, creates more friction. So by overreacting, I mean when it hits the oil, it skids. As soon as it hits a dry area, it grips the lane and hooks immediately. Takes good, you have to be able to throw the ball fairly hard to control one of these bowling balls. Oh my. That almost was terrible break, and Johnny's still really not lined up yet on either lane. He's getting some good breaks and some bad breaks. Here's another look at it. Watch the head pin go to the wall. The 5-pin goes behind the 10. Head pin comes all the way across and does kick out the 7. So actually the ball hit so hard the 5-pin went behind the 10. Too much power. Again.
Straight at it, good stuff. Johnny West in his route to the #1 seed defeated Casnius, Dan McElliott, Bill Michaels, Roger LeClaire, then the match we talked about earlier, David Billings, where it was 922 to 909. Very close match. It came down to the last game where Johnny was able to pull it out. No, Earl, we mentioned it, and I might have mentioned it before, in being left-handed and bowling in the same condition John was, and it looks like the same for the right side. If you get the ball out early and don't square up at the line and get the ball down the lane through the oil, it's going to hook on you early to leave those kinds of shots and those spares.
Well, what it really comes down to, and you're right, Jay, it's a credit to both these players' ability to get good ball speed and still control the rotation. Yes. The ball speed, keeping the ball in the pocket. If they were a little softer with the shot, those would be 4-6s. So the ball speed that they're capable, they're both young and they're both strong.
Then we have Chuck Lambert, the president of the Portland Bowling Association. You might notice that little pink pin on his lapel. That is denoting the Mixed Championship Tournament. The National Mixed Championship Tournament will be held at Cascade Lanes here in Portland, Oregon. So congratulations to the association on getting quite a tournament here.
I'm going to be part of that. I'm looking forward to that. And on opening night, I'm going to come out there, and Gloria Bouvier and myself, and we're going to go over there and try to not disrupt the proceedings too much.
Say we have two great names in the world of bowling, Earl Anthony and Gloria Bouvier, two very, very fine people.
At the 10 pin, again, a lot of ball speed, good cover. He's trying to bounce out and get another right, I think.
Yes. It worked so well last time. He's thinking about doing it again, it looks like.
In case you missed our opening match, David Billings can really zip it down there. He threw it real hard at a spare on lane 11 and bounced the pin out of the pit area, and the light that lights the pin deck fell out and broke, and Champ Husted, the owner-operator here, was down on his hands and knees sweeping up glass.
Earl, I was trying to see what David re-racked for. I didn't see a bad spot, but there obviously could have been. In his mind, there was.
Well, that's the important thing.
Yes.
If it's in his mind a bad spot, then he's smart to re-rack.
Then again, on this lane, I'd never question anything he does. Every shot he's thrown on lane 11 has been dead flush.
There's a good look at David, and just a little bit of a run out. It's a little early to really get into it with the emotions. You don't want to display too much of that killer attitude early in the match, because it could turn around on you, especially against someone as talented as Johnny West, and this is a long way from over.
Earl, they're allowed 2 re-racks per game, so David has a chance to use 2 at any point during the match he wants to. If the tournament officials denotes he needs more, if some of the pin has fallen down or so, he might take him at that point.
Little love tap on the 10 pin there, and a little different shot for David Billings. David Billings, when he needs it, when he wants to strike really bad, really feels that he's under pressure to make a good shot, tends to stand up a little more at the foul line, throw the ball a little harder, and actually overpower the lane condition. And he's capable of that, and a lot of us aren't. But that's typical of a lot of the great players of today, is to be the ability to actually overpower the lane condition by throwing the ball extremely hard and still get enough rotation to make it hit and carry out the corner pins.
3 great shots to fill up the 10th frame. Ends up with 258, Earl. Johnny West has a chance to go out for 215.
258, and he made it look easy. Tell you what. These guys can play.
Yes. If I'm incorrect, did he ring 2 10s on that 258 game? So every shot obviously in the hole.
A little different shot there from Johnny West. Gave it a little more room. A little more ball speed, a little more room, and got it back. He actually arced the ball a lot more in that shot, and maybe this is the lineup he's looking for. He needs to find a way to carry that 6 pin out and not leave the 7 pin. Too much hook, he'll start leaving the 7 pin. Ball breaks early, he's going to leave the 6 pin.
Great shot. So he's going to end up with a 2-team game. He'll be down 40 pins, but with the way these two guys can strike, it's anybody's ball game.
Well, there's no question it's still anybody's match. It's a 4-game total pin match, Jay, and 215 to 258, that can turn around in 1 game, much less 4.
Johnny West looking good out there with a 215 to David Billings 258. Earl, I think we're going to have a lot more strikes in front of us. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Hey everyone, welcome back to the 1994 Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. Earl, we have a match. The best is yet to come. Dave Billings defeated Dennis Bailey the first match, has come back to defeat John West in the second to force a third match. The high scores, David is looking awful tough.
Well, he does. He looks very tough, and Johnny West has yet to really get lined up. You know, I talked about that at the close of that last match. David Billings is the only thing that's gone wrong for him is a couple of 10 pins here and there, whereas Johnny West has made some mistakes, and I don't think he's there's a good example of it, missing an easy spare to start this match, and you can't afford that. You can't afford to give anything away to guys bowling as well as David Billings.
Yes. David starting off this first game of what it has to be the third match now. He's 24 years old. We've mentioned he's only been bowling 12 years. 17 300 games for his age is phenomenal. He knows how to throw strikes. Interesting. I thought he got out of that ball bad. It was after the break.
Well, David Billings, the last match against Johnny West, and Johnny West got to be thinking, what do I have to do to beat this guy? I beat him last night in the, we talked about that earlier. Johnny West did beat David Billings in the qualifying rounds before coming into this to become the tournament leader, and now David Billings has to beat him twice. And the way he's going in that last match, he averaged 255, and Johnny West sitting there on the bench thinking, hey, I averaged 242 for 4 games,
yeah,
and I didn't even get close.
He left no openings. And again, he starts off right where he was. Every ball is just a great shot. There's never a doubt when the ball hits the pocket.
And he's making great adjustments. That particular shot there, he's paralleling in with the oil. That particular shot was right around the 13-14 board, whereas when he started his first match, when he bowled earlier against Dennis Bailey, he was around 12 board. Now he's into 14, almost 15, and he's paralleling in. In other words, by that I mean he's moving his feet the same amount he's moving his target. And by doing so, he's keeping the ball on the edge of the oil, so he's not getting an overreaction. He's getting basically the same reaction at the other end, 60 feet away, as he has from the first shot he played on the lanes. And that's great. That's good knowledge. That's a great adjustment to make. And Johnny West, he's had trouble carrying a 7 because he has never really gotten lined up. He's tried to give the ball too much room, and when he's given it a lot of room, it's overreacted.
Earl, I think you hit exactly on what he said. I talked with Johnny during the break between the matches. He said that exact same thing. He felt like he started arcing the ball too much, that he wanted to square up, tighten up his approach to get the ball through the oil more, not out into the dry. You hit it exactly on the head when you mentioned in the last match, and that's what he wants to do this match.
Unfortunately, there's no room for error when you're bowling David Billings today. He doesn't give you a chance to breathe, much less make a bad shot.
Yeah.
Ho-hum.
Yes, it's going to be another quick game here, looks like. David's still striking.
Well, I'll tell you, I think we can expect, if David Billings doesn't get too intimidating, I think we can expect Johnny West to continue bowling well. In
Yes.
fact, maybe even better. David Billings, on the other hand, the way he's going, it's almost painful to be on the bench and bowl against someone like this, because they never give you an opening. They never seem to make the mistake that's necessary for you to get out there and get in front. He never seems to let anyone take the lead.
Well, he averaged 255, and Johnny bowling very well, averaging 240. Where is the mistake to go? It's 15 pins a game is all it was, 13 pins a game. And David left no openings for John to make up those 10 or 15 pins a game.
Well, when you're Johnny West, you're sitting here saying, well, I started this match, I left, here's a look at Chuck Lambert.
Chuck Lambert, the Portland president, Portland Bowling Association president.
And getting back to this young man right here, Johnny West, he got up there in the first frame. He made his only mistake so far in 4 shots. He threw a little high and left the 2-4, then chopped it. Now, now he's looking up there saying, well, I got 9 in the first frame and 3 strikes in a row. My opponent has a first 4. I may have already lost this match.
Yeah.
And this is a 4-game match. you know, if we both go out and I'm down 21 pins, I may never ever see this guy again. How can you get up there and bowl well thinking that?
And like you say, psychologically, knowing that every shot your opponent throws is going to be there, and you just got to hope for the. You hate to say hope for the worst, but you got to hope he leaves an opening to jump in at, and Billings has not done that.
Well, I like the way Johnny West is playing right now. He has made a good adjustment in his game. He's keeping the ball really firm. He's keeping it down and in rather than arcing the ball. And the only thing he has to worry about now, the only mistake he can possibly make, is to either slow the ball up or set it short. As long as he gets it out in front of him and keeps it firm, he's going to throw a lot of strikes.
Oh, great break. He threw that. He did not throw that ball well, Earl.
No, but that's one of the benefits of that heavy roll. And what that does is, remember I talked about how it brings the pins back to the middle of the lane? Well, there's a good example of it. Here's a look at his release right here. This ball, as you mentioned, is not a good shot. He gets it out into the dry. You see the ball going to the right, and it hooks early. It hooks right there. It's already moving to the high up on the head pin. Watch how the pins come back to the middle of the lane. They're all coming back to the middle of the lane, and that's what carries it for him. That's that heavy roll.
This is great to see. You have David Billings, one of the dominant right-handers in this area at his age. Johnny West, easily one of the dominant left-handers in this area, going head-to-head at it, throwing a lot of strikes.
Well, that's what a quality tournament will do for you. They'll bring out the best of the players and the best talent in the field, and this could be it right here.
Yes.
Has anybody ever bowled 1,200?
We're going to get awful close to it.
Well, like I said, the only mistake, whoop, there's that solid 7, and that's kind of a bad break because that was a good shot. Johnny West made a great shot there. He expected to strike, and I expected him to strike. We're probably the most two surprised people because I'm sitting directly behind him, and I could see the ball when it left his hand was going to be perfect.
It was a great shot right here.
And that's been the difference. I've mentioned it before. The difference has been who's been carrying the best, and Johnny West, other than making a few more mistakes than David Billings, the difference has been the carry power. He's left a few more 7s than David Billings has left 10s.
And that's what we talked about. He got the ball a little arced too soon, got it out to the dry. It hooks up early.
Right. He set it down in the dry almost on that one. You know, this has been kind of a good deal for me. When I negotiated to come over and do this television show with Bob Wells, he offered me a certain figure, and and then when we went into this overtime match, I get to double that. So
oh, no, very good.
Oh, there's that same mistake again, the same spare, and it's almost like Johnny West has given up. It's hard to believe that this early in the match you'd give up, but here you see he slides it right by, leaving, taking the 4-7 off the...
I think it's John's spare game is to get up quick and to make the spare. Unfortunately, with this much oil and he slid by, there's definitely an out of bounds on the left-hand side. If you get the ball out past, say, 5 or 6, it's not coming back, and especially with that much speed.
Well, there's no doubt who's in control of this match at this point. That's about the best thing that's happened so far all day for Johnny West.
If you want to consider that a break, he's still got a long roll ahead. He's got 3 more games left to try to make up something here, and hopefully he can do it. Keep this match close and exciting. Would love to see that.
And he misses the 10-pin about as often as your mother-in-law leaves early when she comes to visit. Not very often. Well, let's see if he gets it right back going again. Still possible. 279, and this is really impressive talent. Both these young guys have tremendous talent. Regardless of who wins this match, they're both going to represent the Portland area at the American Bowling Congress Masters Championships in Mobile, Alabama in May.
It's great to see 2 guys going out throwing the ball well. David, that's the first 6-pin he's left. Oh, no, I take that back. He has in the other match, but very rarely does he leave the 4-pin.
See, you left-handers, you do the same thing. I know you. Yeah. Call it a 6-pin, just like I do.
But the 4-pin,
you get that mirror image down there.
The 4-pin on lane 11 usually has been dead flush every time on that lane.
He's left a few of those early on. Remember in his first match when he bowled against Dennis Bailey, he left a couple of 4-9s and some 4-pins, but he even actually picked up one of the 4-9s. So that shows you not only is he a very talented strike player, but he can make the spares too. Well, I hate to say this, this is a 4-game match, folks, and it's still only the first game of the championship match. But you got to start saying Johnny West has got to throw nothing but strikes because David Billings, that's all he's been doing.
Well, he's got to throw the strikes, and he can't leave the spares and chop them as he has. You got to make those spares to keep it with. There's 20 pins he's given him this match.
Don't you see a resemblance between him and Dave Husted?
Yes,
there seems to be
very much so. They've bowled together quite a bit. You know, Johnny being raised here. Both have great solid approaches.
Things just aren't happening well today for Johnny West. Another look at that shot, and you see the ball. Good rotation right there. Solid 7. Just a lot of ball speed and maybe a little too much deflection, and that'll cause that 7-pin sometimes.
If I were, yes, you can't. Oop, another one coming out. But you see David Billings now. He almost tastes the blood. He's up there. Johnny's not even done with the spare. He's up there ready to bowl. David's trying to take control of this match and trying to control the tempo. I don't know if there's any way Johnny can do it, but to slow down this match and try to keep the pace a little slower because David's ready to bowl at any given point.
There you go. We get a nice round of applause for the young man that comes all the way down there.
Jeff Abney gets a little round of applause. Jeff actually did bowl this tournament. Bowled very well, I might add. He placed 25th for $125. He'll make a little extra money on the side here working in Hollywood at the Milwaukie Bowl.
You mentioned the entry fee, but I forgot. What is the entry fee?
It's $100, Earl. $100 is the entry fee. Right.
And you bowl 8 games of qualifying?
2 4-game blocks, 8 games of qualifying. They cut to the top 32. This year it took a score of 102 over, so that is 102 pins over, averaging 200 for that 8 games.
Okay, so that's 1702.
Correct. So it was a higher scoring tournament than usual. Last year took about 80. Year before that, about 40 or 50 under, averaging 200. So
what was the leader score?
Leader score this year, I believe, was 297 over by Kurt Millspaw in that range. He bowled very well, very well. 300 over for 8 games is quite an accomplishment.
Well, Bob Wells to the rescue again. Remember our statistician?
Yes.
You know, he says plus 302. Which
okay, I knew it was in that range.
1902 for 8. That's pretty good score.
I figure if I'm plus 10 or, you know, within 10 pins on a guess, it's okay. You know, we had a great banquet last night at Henry Ford's. The food was fantastic. Everything was just great. You know, Bob Wells, the MC, did a great job. Earl, really, Henry Ford's, if you're ever out of the town, have a chance to go eat there. The food is fantastic. They do a great job hosting bowling banquets. Any kind of banquet you would need, Henry Ford's is the place to go for that.
Sure, you didn't invite me, did you?
Yeah, actually, Earl, there was just one chair we couldn't fill at that point at the banquet last night. We left one in your honor, though.
Well, getting back to the bowling here, David Billings with the possibility of shooting in his opening game of the championship match. And this, good chance this will be the championship match.
Yes.
268 possibility. Unless there's a tie, and if there is a tie, I've been informed by Bob Wells, we're making a star out of this guy. You know that?
Yes.
We've been informed by Bob Wells that if there is a tie, there will be a 1-game roll-off to break that tie.
We have David Billings shooting 260 right out the gate again. So therefore, you mentioned it, he's won now 8 out of 9 matches.
But he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yes,
he's not letting up.
Shows no sign he's going to take a 50 to 60 pin lead here in the first game. Already he's going to make it tough.
Well, he's getting such a great ball reaction to it. He seems to have a little more area on the lane. His ball speed is consistent, which creates that area. And his rotation and loft and everything, all these things I've mentioned before are very consistent, but he also seems to be getting just a little bit better ball reaction than Johnny West is. Johnny's ball seems to jump when he's a little short like that and leave the 6-pin, or if he gets it wide with a lot of back end, he leaves a solid 7. And I'm not making excuses for the left and leave the 6-pin, or if he gets it wide with a lot of back end, he leaves a solid 7. And I'm not making excuses for the left-hander, but Dave Billings obviously is bowling extremely well. Johnny West not getting quite as many breaks as he might based on the way he's making shots. And here's a good look at that last shot, and you can see the ball in the pocket area again, but it just leaves that 6-pin when it finishes too strong.
You know, I was going to mention, and I think it's happening right now, Earl. I was wondering if a ball change could help Johnny get the reaction he kind of wants. You see him here filling up with a fill ball in the 10th frame, switching balls to see if he can get a little bit of reaction that you noticed he has to have to compete with David Billings.
Well, that ball skidded a little longer, went a little farther down the lane, and it was a great shot, but again, the solid 7, and the carry power hasn't been there for Johnny West.
There we go. The first game, 202 for Johnny West, the 268 for David Billings, a 66-pin lead after the first game. If there's anyone that can make it up, it's Johnny West, the left-hander from Milwaukie Bowl. We will be right back with the second game of this match. Welcome back to Milwaukie Bowl, home of the Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. Earl, we have David Billings, who has a 66-pin lead after one game in this final match of the Masters. He looks almost impossible to beat. He's throwing the ball great. Johnny just has to throw strikes, try to put some kind of pressure on him. Carries a wraparound 10-pin. Johnny's going to get up. It'll be interesting to see if he elects to change balls or keep the same ball. But she has switched balls, Earl.
Well, he's confused, and right now he's gambling that at over 60 pins a deficit right now. He's got to gamble. No question. He's got to do something different. But sometimes the best thing to do is just keep throwing the ball in the pocket area, stay with what you've got, what got you there. And David Billings is what's creating the problem, not Johnny West. Johnny West is bowling well. David Billings is just bowling unbelievably. So the idea in my mind is not to gamble, not now. You've got 3 games to go for the championship. 66 pins can be made up. That can be made up in 3 games. But you don't have to make it up in 1 game.
Right. He likes to stay with the new ball. And a great shot. We'll see what happens.
Well, this guy right here has bowled 9 games today, and he has averaged 247 in winning 8 of those 9 games. Not too bad.
No, and he shows no signs of hoping up. You say he's 23 years old. This is a walk in the park for him. He probably bowls this in practice every day, so nothing new to him.
Well, there's no question he won't tire. It's just a matter of whether or not he can. If the lane condition will stay as it is now, I don't see anything changing for David Billings. But if the lane condition should break down a little bit, in the head area especially, that could be exciting. Because then he could get into an area of the lane where he might not be able to carry quite as well, and then we would have a match. But as it goes now, I don't see how Johnny West can expect to have any opportunity to catch him. And West, he's averaging 234 for 5 games, and he's getting killed.
Not even in the hunt. David had said it. I'd mentioned at the beginning of the tournament, this tournament was his. He is proving it now that there's going to be no challengers.
Well, it's not over yet, though.
Yes.
It's not over yet. Johnny West led this event because he's bowled. We don't want it to be 3 in a row for him. He's finished second twice, not 3 in a row, but he has finished second twice, and he wants this to be the 3rd time be the charm.
And he's a good enough player where he can take advantage of it.
Well, there you are. That's the kind of thing, and that was in the pocket.
I didn't get a chance to see that. Was the pocket 4-6, Earl?
Well, kind of. It was a little high in the pocket, but we're going to get a look at it. Now watch this. Watch the ball. This, you saw his reaction. See how sharply that ball broke, but it was actually high in the pocket.
Yeah.
Normally that would have kicked out the 4, and the 6 would not have been there. hard, try to bounce it. And that's a mistake. That's not, even with a 66-pin lead, you don't give away that kind of pin count.
So you get 2 pins away, or 4 pins away. Johnny West here has a chance to make up a couple. And he carries it. See the crowd starting to get into it again, which Johnny needs. Johnny needs to throw some strikes, get his adrenaline going, get the crowd back into the game. Almost feels like a basketball game, Earl. We want the crowd into the game for the home team.
Well, you can see how quick a turnaround this game can have. And here you go, not only physically on the lanes, if Johnny West were to get another strike here, which would be about a 30-pin turnaround because of the open, but psychologically, emotionally.
And a great shot.
Well, from going from a quiet crowd to an enthusiastic crowd, and it all happened in one shot.
Earl, I think I said that David Billings had things in hand just to try to get Johnny excited. Get him out there throwing strikes. He's done that. We've done my job for the day.
Well, while I've got a chance, I want to mention something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is the World Team Bowling Challenge, and that's, of course, sponsored by Brunswick, and that's going to be not too far away from here in the near future. March the 12th and 13th is going to be in Tacoma, New Frontier Lanes, and we're looking for teams to fill that up. It might, in fact, I think that one's already full, to be honest with you.
It is, Earl, yes. I tried to get in myself a couple weeks ago. It is not. It is full.
Well,
Earl, I hate to take you away from that moment. Analyze his shot. He goes a 4.6 and now all of a sudden a 4.9.
Well, this is typical of a guy that can really get a lot on the bowling ball. What he did here is he actually hit it a little more. After that last shot, he got pumped up, and when they make a mistake, when the crankers make a mistake, they over-rotate. And he just got too much on it, and
yes,
it just cut through. And now he's got to get it back together. This would be a good time for him to turn around here, take a deep breath, and say, wait a minute, let's go back to what got me here. Just get my head back in the game, make good shots. Sometimes when you get a big lead that early in a match, 66-pin lead in the first game of this, a 4-game match, remember, 4 games, total pins, sometimes you start feeling a little overconfident and you relax.
And then you have a guy like Johnny West waiting on the doorstep for that opening.
Who hasn't been a slouch, even though he's been getting killed. He's averaged 234 up to this point. A little more room there.
And a good shot.
Big lane adjustment there. Gave the ball a lot of room. That's the most he's hooked it all day. After the first game of the first match, he started going more direct. In that particular shot, he actually opened up the lane. So maybe we're going to see a different way of playing the rest of the way from David Billings, which could change his carry power.
Yes.
This is the guy that has to do it, though. It's all up to him. He has to throw strikes.
Still very much in the honey. As a 3-bagger there, the 6-pin. On a good shot for Johnny West. And Johnny's trying to get a little excited. He's running them out now. He knows he has to carry every shot he can. Throws a good shot.
Well, that's actually what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to get up there thinking, I've got to carry them all, because as you've seen already, David Billings he is human. He can make a mistake, and he's back in the match. Even though he's down 66 pins after the first game, at this point, he's got it right back down to 29.
Well,
so,
like
that's anybody's match.
He's already cut off 30 pins off the lead, and it's only 5 frames into the match, into the game.
That's trouble. That was really a major mistake, and that's a shame, because we just get through talking about how he's got it back into the match, and he just lets one get away from him.
Earl, you mentioned we'll see here, Johnny, the mistake he just made, unfortunately, even the 4.6. Taking the count and going on. Earl, I think you had mentioned the National Team Challenge. If I'm correct, you'll be hosting or up there at that tournament doing some
we've
television work.
Now we went from last year was our first year as the National Team Challenge. Now we're the World Team Challenge. We're going to have in Reno, Nevada in June, we're going to have the championship round with 15 teams from the United States, and with teams from around the world there, representing as many as 15 foreign countries, so we could have as many as 30 teams in Reno, Nevada for the championship. And the winner of that tournament will be designated the World Team Champions.
And it's been an exciting tournament. I know I bowled it last year, and some quality teams show up for that.
Well, now look at here. David has definitely made some adjustments, and he's actually got farther into the lane. He's giving it more room. He's giving a bigger arc to it, and what he's trying to do is eliminate. You can see there he's clear inside the third arrow. That's a major move. He's trying to eliminate the possibility of open frames. So he's gone to a defensive mode, and he left the whole back row there for a minute.
Boy, I tell you, that was interesting to see on slow motion. It's a credit to David, his ability. He was going straight up, very squared up. Now he's opened it up a little bit to see if it'll give him a little more room.
Well, not only his ability, but his confidence in his
Yes.
ability to make good shots from any place on the lane. And there, that's third arrow, clear out to about 8 and back to the solid 10. And this is what we talked about just a minute ago. When he makes this kind of adjustment, what's going to happen to his carry power? So Johnny West, all he has to do is be aggressive. He can't go up there and try to fit shots. He's got to go up there and let it happen. His game is power. Power means give the ball a little room, a lot of speed. Not the kind of room that we were talking about where he got in trouble earlier in the first match, but enough room to keep the ball in play. He's got to throw strikes, and the only way he can do that is to play his game.
Yes. And he's thrown enough strikes in his life that he knows he can do it, so now it's just a matter of executing those shots.
David Billings has given him an opportunity. He may not get that opportunity again. He's got to put some pressure on David Billings
And you mentioned
right
it.
now.
This is a game where he can make up a lot of that 60-pin lead just by making good shots and carrying.
Well, the strikes will take care of themselves. He's got to make good shots.
And that's a great shot there.
But he doesn't have to think he has to make it all up now. That's a major mistake. He's just got to get as many as he can this game and then just keep grinding on him next game. And all of a sudden, when he comes down to the end of that fourth game, it could be anybody's match, or he might be out in front. So,
and we've seen there, Johnny, that last shot we've seen in the background is lovely mother, Harriet, who has been associated with Milwaukie Pole for many, many years.
Bad break. Great shot, bad break.
It's tough when you're in Johnny's situation. You got to make good shots. You make that good shot. You think it's there. You ring the 7. It's an emotional letdown to know that you could have doubled and cut the lead by 10 pins. Almost a feeling of, what do I do next? Can I throw the ball any better to carry than I am now?
After a while, you start getting beat up.
Yes.
Mentally, you start thinking, there's nothing I can do is right. David Billings making some adjustments to his bowling ball.
Well, last time we did that, he proceeded to string about 7 in a row, so.
Must have some magic shape in that bag, huh?
I think he knows what he's doing and with the little adjustments he's making.
Well, feel is so important, and especially the thumb hole. Get that thumb hole to feel right, get it off your hand the way you want to, make the good shots. He's still playing defense. He's not being aggressive, and this is not David Billings. It's not the way he likes to play. You talked about how aggressive he normally is,
yes.
Jay. Now he's playing defense. He's not attacking the pocket.
You see, I think you're right. With the move he made, it's more of a, I won't make the major mistake to cost me at this point. We can keep it in the pocket, and carry's not a major factor. Well, it's a major factor, but now we can keep it in the pocket and pick up spares and hopefully not lose any ground.
Well, then it's going to be awful hard. If Johnny West should make a charge, it's going to be hard for him to become aggressive again later in the match. It's hard to turn that around. So this could turn into a really exciting finish. There's a good shot.
Really good shot.
It's the best shot he's made this game. Well, it comes down to Johnny West. He has to put some pressure on David Billings.
If he can strike out here, shoot 226, it's a big if, because his carry has not been spectacular. He's throwing the ball great, he just can't carry. If he can carry and shoot 226, he'll at least take a little bit of the lead off. There's a break. There's a break. He got that. Hopefully he can take advantage of it now in the 10th frame. Shoot the 226 to guarantee himself taking off 5 pins off David's lead.
Here again, the ball breaks very sharply in the last 4 or 5 feet, and you can see what happens. Head pin goes to the wall, comes back around, kicks the 10 into the 6, which is very unusual.
Got the ball out early. And a good shot.
A lot of ball speed there.
Yes.
Really threw it hard.
I was worried when I seen the ball off his hand get out so quick into the drive, but you mentioned it. Ball speed is so critical, and he threw that ball great.
You know, this could be the deciding game of this match, or actually in the championship, because the reason I say that is David Billings really he opened the door wide in the 3rd and 4th frames. He gave Johnny West, and here's another look at that shot. You see him break down the 4-6 and 7-10, but that's not important at this point. The important thing is he had a chance to really get back in this match, and David Billings opened the door.
Yes.
Now, what could happen with Johnny West finishing with 214, David Billings could strike out for 221 and actually increase his lead after making some major errors in the middle part of the game.
And really, emotionally for David, he's got to say, this is great. You know, I bowled a bad game and didn't lose any ground.
Even with this strike here, he would be happy, I'm sure.
Which he is.
And to the young man sitting on the bench, Johnny West, this has to be pretty demoralizing. He had it going, he goes spare 3 in a row, then he throws it through the middle and leaves that 4-6 in the 6th frame, and that was pretty much the end of this game for him. After that point, it was hard for him to be aggressive, and David Billings had been making many mistakes.
Well, with this shot here, he can increase his lead.
That's right, and again, he's starting to get more and more aggressive again. So
right.
He's made the mental turnaround, and it could be that it's too late.
He does have some power, Earl.
Could be it's too late for Johnny West.
Yeah, I think you mentioned
it's only the second game.
You noticed it on that shot. You had said he had to get more aggressive. And those last 2 shots were great. He came through the ball very aggressively. No safety at all in those shots.
Well, it's never over until it's over. Somebody said that.
Yeah.
But, 73-pin lead, that's a bunch.
David Billings having a 73-pin lead, 72-pin lead, going into the 3rd game of this final championship match of the Portland Masters. Stay tuned. Johnny West has something to say about the outcome of this match. We'll be right back.
Forward roll keeps the ball on line and still gives you hitting power as long as you can generate the ball speed not to lose the energy. If you don't have enough ball speed, it tends to roll out. David Billings, with that great free arm swing, can generate a lot of ball speed.
Johnny here looking for a 5-bagger. He's right back in the match if he can get something going in this game.
Got to hurry. Oh, boy, did that break sharp. That ball came off his hand extremely quick. The ball was on the lane almost behind the foul line. And when that happens, it's going to break very sharply and early. And this is what happens. You see the ball break really sharp, and this has been his nemesis. He's missed this spare twice already in today's matches.
One more forward at it. Oh, we got lucky. We thought he was going to chop it. But a good spare. Let's see if we can get some strikes here.
This ball almost chopped. You can see that. He almost chopped the 2 off the 4. Johnny West doesn't waste any time. He's a very fast player. He gets up and sets his feet, takes a look at the pins, gets his hand on the ball, and away he goes.
Good shot.
Seems like every time he's in a position to make a move, something happens. And that particular time, it was lane 12. He let one get away from him, and that was costly. He has to keep pressure on David Billings.
You mentioned that David hasn't missed the pocket very often at all, once or twice at most.
All week.
Yeah. And now we see he has an opportunity again. You know, Johnny has an opportunity to shoot 260. David Billings could be right there shutting the door on him again.
Actually, with a strike here, and David Billings takes the lead in this game. And there's the 10 again. See, about the only thing that's happened to David Billings that, you know, he just seems to always be there with an opportunity to strike, and that's really important, is just to give yourself a chance, and he's done that. He wasn't happy with his release. You might have seen on camera when he came back, he was moving his wrist like, well, I didn't get out of that one the way I wanted to, but he's been deadly on his spares.
And once again. So it's a little more even of a match, actually, with that. In this game itself, it actually puts Johnny up by 10 pins with a chance to make it 20. So David Billings needing a strike here to try to hold on to the lead he has.
Well, 63-pin lead for David Billings here with a game and maybe 3 frames to play. David Billings has been so dominant throughout the day. Jay, you've been around this tournament a lot. Have you ever seen anybody dominate the match play?
I have. There's only been one other person that I know of, and that would be Doug Wallace. Doug in the past, and the year he won it, has been extremely dominant in this kind of tournament. And he's a player a lot like Dave. He's a guy that once he gets going, He's going to shoot the numbers, throw a lot of strikes, and there's not much you can do about it but sit back and watch and hope you carry. And that's about the only other person that has been as dominant as I've seen David Billings today.
Right. And David Billings hasn't given anyone much of an opportunity today. And this is Johnny West's second time in this game to have an opportunity to get back in the match. And again, the same result. Exactly the same shot he did in the 6th frame on lane 12. He did it again in the 8th frame. Opportunity again there to shoot 267 possibly and hope that David Billings might just mark out for 210. Would have been anybody's match. That particular shot, he's having a lot of problems staying on top of his game.
Yeah, good spare for John. I think you said it enough, Earl. It is to the point now where he can't afford spares. He has to strike to have any semblance of catching David Billings.
Well, he's back in that same situation he was in the last game. He had an opportunity to really cut into that lead that David Billings had in the first game. The last game he had that opportunity. He let it get away from him, and David Billings actually came back and increased his lead.
Yeah.
He could have that happen again right here.
Interesting to see what David Billings does. If he proceeds to go off the sheet and shoot 248, he shuts Johnny out again. He can increase his lead by a pin in the match. Every frame is important. These two for David Billings are really, this could close out the match. A 70-pin lead is awful tough to make up in one game when you're bowling as well as David is.
Well, if he strikes this game out, this match, in my opinion, would be over.
Yeah.
There's just no way that, even as good as Johnny West is, that he can make up 70 pins in one game on David Billings.
And he came through that ball good.
Well, he senses victory,
Yeah.
and he's starting to run him out a little bit. He's pumped up, and again, getting back to me, the key turning points in the match were the 2nd and 3rd frame of the 2nd game of this match, and of course, the 6th and 8th frame of the 3rd game here, where Johnny West had an opportunity to really, really cut into that lead that David Billings built up in the first game, let it get away from him, and David Billings is not going to back down. You give him that many chances, he's going to just jump all over you, and he's done that all day long. He keeps the pressure on. And he does it by throwing balls like this. Oh, solid 10.
And a good shot. David picking this up is going to shoot 220. Johnny has a chance to go for 227, take 20 pins off it. So a 50-pin lead, there is at least a chance between 50 and 70. So,
well, 50 pins can be made up in one game. 70 is really tough. He's right on the borderline there. Even 50 with someone this caliber.
Yes. Even 50, he knows he's got to shoot a number. He knows he's got to throw strikes, and he can't afford to make the 2 bad shots a game as he did this game.
Well, if he were now, see, if Johnny West were bowling Bob Wells, 50 pins he could pick up real easy, but since he's bowling David Billings, he's got his hands full here. Bob didn't
Very well put, Earl, though. David Billings finishing out this game with 227. As we said, 3 strikes here by Johnny West. He can shoot 247.
It's only about 20 pins under his average.
Yeah. So he made the move. He looks like he moved a little deeper on that shot.
Well, he's got to be feeling a little bit better now. He's won at least 2 games out of these.
Yeah, out of the
5,
first 7.
Yes. In case you just joined us, this is the 3rd game of our 2nd, what we thought were championship round matches. Yeah. With David Billings winning the first one. With a tremendous score of 10-21. To a 969 by his opponent, the tournament leader, John West, who was undefeated coming into the championship round, and David Billings then has to beat him twice, and he's well on his way to doing that. So
Johnny's looking good. He threw the 3. He threw those 2 shots straight. He shot 247 to 227. He takes a 72-pin lead down to a 52-pin lead. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with the 4th and final game of the Honey Baked Ham Championship match. Welcome back to the Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. Earl, we have things well at hand here. David Billings with a 52-pin lead going into the last game of the final championship match. The last time we had this situation, he was dominant. He didn't give the opponent any chance to take control of the match, and we'll see if he can do that again for the third straight match here today.
And if you were with us for our other match between these two fine players, you noticed that after 3 games, it's not an instant replay, folks. David Billings had a 52-pin lead after 3 then also. So let's see if, as you mentioned, Jay, if he can continue to be as dominant as he's been through the first 11 games he's played today. He's just been unbelievable. Well, that's happened several times, it seems like. Johnny just can't get out of the gate.
Right.
Okay, and you can see his expression. And another look at that shot. He got into the oil in the middle of the lane. The ball started skidding and never really picked up any friction on the back. This is makeable. He's got to slide it across the lane.
And he does. Good spot.
Another look at that. Watch this. He'll hit the 3-pin on the right-hand side, slide it across the lane into the 7. Perfectly done. So, again, these guys don't only just throw strikes, they're also excellent spare shooters, and that's how you average in the 220s, as they both do in league play.
Come on, ball. Come on.
You know, Johnny's struggling. He just can't seem to get it going to start each game, and by the time he gets lined up, David Billings has already thrown 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So.
And this, if David goes on to win the game, in this match, he would be the first repeat champion, winning in 1989, taking second in 91, and now winning if he can hold on to this match and win in the 94, the first repeat champion for the Portland Masters. But Johnny still has a lot of game left. And
well, we keep saying that, but it doesn't seem to be working that way for Johnny, and we keep looking to make this into a more of a challenge for David Billings, but he doesn't let us. He's just out there saying, this is mine, I'm going to take it. You already said that several times. He said before this tournament started, I'm going to win this.
Well, with breaks like that. And he's one of the few players, Earl, around this neighborhood, this neck of the woods that can say that, and you know he means it, and he has the ability to do it.
Well, here's a look at it, that last shot. Watch the 10-pin, the last pin to go. As you see the 4-pin lay in the channel, the 6-pin lay in the channel, and what comes across, but again, the same old head pin. And it just enough to knock the 10 out. Yes. And those are the kind of breaks you need, and those don't happen, and you're not just lucky. Those are created by making good shots time after time. And once in a while, you're going to get a good break. And you deserve them if you make that many good shots. And David Billings has been making good shots for 12 games now.
And another scout. He's getting a little pumped, Earl. I think he tastes victory. He's finally saying, I think I've done it. Starting off in a game that he has to, at least he knows he has to shoot around 220s or so. Now he's still in that range, and he's feeling good about where he's at.
Well, in match play, what it really comes down to is if you're going to, and again, it comes back to psychology. You have to put pressure on the other player. You can't let him freewheel. If you let the other guy get up there, your opponent gets up there, and he's loose, he's relaxed. This caliber of players, they're going to make good shots. There's no question. He's going to throw a lot of strikes. Johnny West never had the opportunity. First of all, he never made good enough shots early in each game to put pressure on David Billings, and David Billings never let up. He never, ever gave Johnny West an opportunity except for twice. And both times, Johnny West could never take advantage of that. Even on his good shots, sometimes when he made one in the clutch, when he needed to, he would do this. He'd leave that solid 7, and that's really been the determining factor in the match. The dominance of David Billings, the ability to make good shots at any time when he needed to, and especially when he wanted to, and Johnny West's lack of ability to come through when he had to, or carry when he did make the good shot. And that speech made, it's your turn.
Well, Earl, I think you said it all. We know what's happening. We said it enough today. David Billings has been dominant. He has a chance right now to pretty much close out this match with another 2 strikes here. And he's made it in for a long day, but he could very well go home the winner. For him, 12 games is nothing. He's satisfied what he wanted to do for the start of the weekend, last weekend, and it's finally coming to a pinnacle today.
Well, he could finish us off with a real touch of class. Maybe give us that 300 game we've been looking for.
Starts off the first floor. He's third of the way there.
Give you an idea of how he gets out of the gate. This young man is, of the 12 games he's bowled today, at least 6 of them he started with it. Well, at least he has started 6 of those games with at least a double. So that's putting pressure on your opponent.
Yes. I think every other shot has been a ring 10, if I remember correctly, or a 6 pin. I mean, it's been in the pocket with great shots.
There's that 4 pin, and that's the kind of mistake he can afford right now, if you want to call that a mistake.
Yes.
It's not really a mistake. I think that this guy right now, he knows he's got it won. All he has to do is show up, stay behind the foul line, and continue to make good shots, and he's going to do that. David Billings has been here before. We've talked about his success in this event in the past. He's the 1989 champion, finished second in 1991. And it looks like he's going to be a winner again. And unfortunately for the other side over here, the lefty Johnny West, who led this tournament going on to the championship round today, this will be his third second place.
Well, Earl, I think we do have to have a talk with Champ about doing something to get a left-handed banner up on the board here. We need one.
Well, I don't know what's going to do a good talk to Champ. He's not.
He's not going to be sympathetic to that cause.
We'll take another look at that last shot here by Johnny West, and watch the pin action here, folks. Now, you don't see this very often either. Right through the middle of the head pin. The baby split is standing shortly. Here it comes off the wall, kicks out the 2 and the 7. A little bit too little, too late for Johnny West, who's had a wonderful week, regardless of the fact that he's going to finish second. He still will go to the Masters to represent the Portland area, along with David Billings at Mobile, Alabama, May 1st through the 7th. I'll be down there to keep an eye on these guys.
You know, the good part is once Johnny gets that master spot, which he has, he can't lose it. As long as he wants to continue bowling, he'll be mailed an entry form every year to continue participating in the Masters, which is a very, very good tournament to bowl on the national level.
This gives you an idea of how serious David Billings has taken the ability of Johnny West. First of all, he's got a huge lead going into this, the last game, but he's still re-racking. He's going to make sure that when he makes a good shot, he has every opportunity to get a strike, because he doesn't want to make the kind of mistakes that could pump Johnny West up and maybe cost himself this tournament. It could happen. You never know. So he's not taking any chances. That shows respect for his opponent.
Yeah. And a great shot there by David Billings to starts off the game again with a 4-bagger, 4-pin strike. Oh, a little kick. Hey, Earl, one thing about this tournament that's been great, and no bowler can complain, is...
Here, we got to look at that love tap, Jay. Here you go. You see the 6-pin go in the channel just enough. The neck of the pin come out, kick the 10 out.
Earl, I was going to say, well, you've seen it out there on your years on the tour, is there's been dominance by the left-handers, dominance by the right-handers. Every tournament, there has the chance to be a dominant side. This tournament, year after year after year, gives both players, left-handed, right-handed, a chance to win the tournament.
Well, that's all you can ask for.
Yes.
It's a fair playing field, and bowling being one of the more difficult sports to create a fair playing field, left to right, and if you get that, you always have to be happy with it.
Yes.
There's no question that Champ is one of the better proprietors in the Portland area, and he knows how the tournament should be played, and he's going to make sure that everybody has an opportunity. Whoever's bowling the best should win the tournament, and that's going to happen here at Milwaukie Bowl.
And that's the way it's been every year, I feel. So they've done a great job.
Well, we know who's been bowling the best this week, at least today. There's no question, if you've been watching, ladies and gentlemen, who's been the top player in the Portland area today. And that's David Billings. He has been dominant. He has never let anyone else have an opportunity to win this tournament. He's gone on to completely destroy 2 very talented opponents today, in Dennis Bailey and, of course, in the tournament leader, Johnny West. He's just gone on and on and on, throwing strikes, averaging almost 8.5 strikes per game.
And not letting them.
And when you look at that over 12 games, that's a lot of strikes.
Yes.
He's going to be over 100 strikes for 12 games. Give you an idea of the talented fields that are drawn to the Portland Masters, the Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters, past champions, 1985 Jeff Phipps, followed by Tim Myers, Alan Stanford, Steve Michaelitsky, I can't even pronounce.
Steve Michaelison, Earl, I'll help you out.
David Billings, thanks. Sean Heath, Russ Nicholas, and of course Doug Wallace, who has been one of the top players in the Portland area for a long time. And the defending champion was Gary Yamasaki, a 1993 champion. And who knows, maybe if we know it's going to be Dave Billings this year, but maybe next year it'll be you. So try to get into this tournament.
Yes.
Well, you can.
It's a great tournament to get into. Contact the Portland Bowling Association about when the entries come out, because it's one not to miss if you want to participate in any kind of a scratch event in the Portland area, or any tournament in the Portland area.
Don't forget, give the Portland Bowling Association a call, and the guy to talk to is Bob Wells. He can fill you in on all the details and help you get started the right way to being the next champion of the Portland Masters.
One other thing I'll mention, Earl, we mentioned it before, I'll take it one more time. The Portland area is once again, actually not once again, for the first time host to this year's ABC WIBC National Mixed Tournament in June. It will be taking place at Cascade Lanes. It's a great tournament to bowl, so if you have any interest, any bowling center in this area will have entry forms. You can go pick them up there. It's a great tournament. We see Johnny West trying to fill up this game. He's going to shoot 230 for the fourth game. Unfortunately, not enough. David Billings has taken control and has not relinquished it all day. I don't think Earl has. I don't think David's been behind in any match at any point.
No, he hasn't. And not only that, but remember I told you how he's striking? This strike right here is 100 for the day. 12 games, that was his 100th strike. He's average. That's 8.5 a game right there, and he's going to be over that. Of course, he has 2 more opportunities if he gets this one to have 102 strikes in 8 games. Now, there's some of us that can go the whole league season and not get that many, and he got it in 12 games here today on lanes 11 and 12 at Milwaukie Bowl.
Finishing up with a 270 game.
And that's the most emotion he's shown all day right there after he got that one, which kind of anticlimactic that he would shoot 270 the last, 279 possibly the last game. And he came back and said yes.
And the ceremonial toss down the middle of the lane. Shooting 276, 277. Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the end of this match, but please stay with us. We will have the presentations of the trophies and the checks right after these messages. Please stay tuned. Milwaukie Bowl. With me are the Portland Bowling Association directors, and most important of all, the 3 finalists in this year's 1994 Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters. Dennis, the 3rd place finish this year. You've done very well in years past. Was yesterday's marathon day just a little too much for you?
Yeah, old age, I think, did me in. Too much firepower from David, so.
Well, you bowled great. Chuck Lambert here has a presentation for you and great bowling. Thank you, Dennis. Good bowling. In 2nd place was Johnny West. Johnny, I hate to say this, but always the bridesmaid, never the bride. What's going on here, Johnny?
I don't know, Jay. I just kind of feel like the Denver Broncos of bowling here. I just can't get it done, and I guess we're going to have to purchase that left-handed banner so we can have one up there next year. And David just did a great job today, and I just couldn't keep up with him. I tried my hardest, and he threw a lot more good shots than I did. So.
Well, you threw the ball great. You had a lot of strikes out there. It was a pleasure to watch. Good bowling. Chuck has a check for you also. David Billings, I don't know what to say. Was there ever a chance? There's never a time today where you did not have the lead. You said it last week. You didn't say you were going to win. I say you said flat out you're winning the tournament. You did win the tournament. Great bowling today.
Yeah, well, I just practiced a lot this week. It paid off. Went to Greg last night, and Greg Goman of Bowlers Performance Center, and told him that I was having a little bit of trouble carrying, and he punched me up a ball, and it did the trick. Now, yes, I just got to discuss percentages with him.
Well, Earl and I said it when I said you switched balls. We said, I don't know if that's a smart idea.
obviously it was a great idea, very good bowling. Chuck Lambert has a little presentation for you.
David, here's the trophy. You just told me a few minutes ago that you wished you'd got one of these last year, but you missed out. We have another one this year of the 10th annual Honey Baked Ham Portland Masters, and I'm going to present you with a check for $3,000 for winning the tournament. Congratulations, and the best of luck at Mobile.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Portland Bowl Association for conducting the tournament, Champ Husted for hosting it, and most of all, I'd like to thank all my fans.
Great bowling, David.
Thank you.
Earl, we've had a great tournament again this weekend. There was nothing but the best bowling. You said it yourself. These gentlemen put on quite a show.
They did, and this is an idea of how talented the players are in the Portland area. And again, if you want to play against the best in the country, you got some of them right here.
Once again, I want to thank Champ Husted and everybody that showed up today. We'll see you again next year.